Hello and welcome to today's episode of Dream Business, Dream Life. I once described my experience of coming into this online world as like being thrown into a pond full of sharks. Now that sounds pretty harsh, doesn't it? And you know what the really funny thing is? Some of those sharks are now some of my closest friends. My issue was never the fact that people were trying to sell me their products and services. My problem was I had no idea what I actually needed. So I sort of thought, do you know what? I need everything. Does that sound familiar? Today, I want to explore this a little bit more, as I know I'm not the only person who's felt totally overwhelmed at some point in their entrepreneurial journey. And as you know, I already had a financially successful business under my belt. So I wasn't new to this business world. I wasn't a novice in business. But what I was coming in to do was completely different than what I'd been doing previously. The business I was starting was completely different to the business that I was walking away from. My old business didn't need me to be the face of the business. It didn't need me to be selling myself. It was products that I sold. That business completely broke me. And I was petrified that it was going to happen again. So even when we're not new to business, it doesn't mean that when we start all over again, we know what we need to be doing. It doesn't mean that when we pivot a little bit from what we've been doing, that we know exactly what this roadmap we need to follow is. As business owners, the thing that really gets in our way at some point, whilst we're growing our business, is us. And when we get in our own way, when we start to doubt everything, we doubt our ability to make the right decisions. We doubt that we have what it takes as a person to make it work, to make it successful. We doubt we have the knowledge. We doubt we have the skills we need. We literally doubt everything. So when we're doing something completely new, be it a brand new business, be it a pivot of an existing business, be it growth within your existing business, it feels uncomfortable. And so our natural instinct is to self-doubt. Our natural instinct is to not believe in ourselves or our ability because we don't like getting uncomfortable. As humans, we like to be comfortable. But as soon as we start to self-doubt, that's when we start to resonate with a lot of the things that people are telling us that we are missing. Things that people are saying to us, you just need to do this one thing, and then you will make a success of your business. Secret sauce is what a lot of people like to call it. I mean, what on earth is secret sauce? Basically, what it means is it's the thing that we need in order to grow a business. The problem is, when we're in this state of self-doubt, we're not seeing things clearly. So we start to make decisions based on made-up facts, things that we are telling ourselves are true, rather than things that are actual reality, things that are real facts. And that's when we tend to start investing in the wrong things. Now, to be clear, when I'm talking to you today about investment, I don't just mean in financial investment here. Investment can be in lots of forms. Yes, it can be money, but it can be time, it can be energy too. Now, I've invested in lots of things that were wrong. And when I say wrong, I don't necessarily mean that the thing I did was wrong, as in it was a bad investment, full stop. I just mean that it wasn't the right thing for me to be doing right there in that moment. And therefore, it didn't give me what I needed. And what happens when you don't get what you need? The self-doubt gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And yes, of course, there was some bad investments along the way. I'm sure we've all made a few of those in our time. But the reality is, if the latest investment didn't work, if I've spent hours reading a book or invested potentially thousands of pounds in a program that's worked for so many others, and it hasn't worked for me, what is going to work? Clearly, this is a me problem. And that's certainly what I felt back in 2022. And so what happens? It's a me problem. The cycle continues. I go back onto social media, scrolling and resonating with the content that tells me exactly what I'm missing. The problem is, how do we know what we need? How do we break this cycle of, I think I need it all. I think I need everything. Well, first things first, we have to get crystal clear on where we are going. Now, I speak a lot about the dream, and this is exactly what I mean here. We need to know what the dream is. We need to know where we want to go in life and in business, so ultimately we can plan the best route to get there. You can't set your sat nav without a destination. So why do we think we can set your dream life if you don't know what that is, if you don't know what that destination is? And even when you set your sat nav, you get to choose the route you take. You can, if you can work the sat nav, avoid motorways, take the fastest route, whatever it is you want to do, you get to choose which route you take. And we want to be able to choose the route that brings us joy along the way in life and business too. Because this thing we call life, this is about the journey. It's not just about the destination. So we need to find the route that we want to follow. And we also need to get crystal clear on where we are right now. Because once we know where we're going and we know where we are now, we can start to work out what the gaps are, the things that we actually need to get us from today to the dream, the things that we actually need to invest in. You see, the problem is when we don't know where that dream is and we don't know where we are right now in relation to that dream, we're going to constantly keep trying the next thing to get somewhere beyond where we are right now. But that somewhere is not necessarily where you want to be. So you're never ultimately going to get there. You're never going to get to that place that you really want to be. You know, that place where you're living that dream that I talk about. And then, of course, we have to do the inner work, the work that stops us from getting in our own way, the inner work that stops us from letting others tell us what we need. Now, of course, inner work is a constant work in progress, and I beg to differ with anyone who says otherwise. Yes, we can get better at controlling the things that go on in our mind, but can we actually stop them? I don't think so, not completely anyway. In fact, I'd probably go one step further here and say that life and business is a constant work in progress, full stop. But you know what? That's okay. It's okay because we are constantly growing. For me, I believe that accepting this, accepting that we are able to keep growing is one of the biggest things that we can teach ourselves. It's certainly been one of my biggest lessons. We simply can't always stop things happening, but we can control how we react to them. And we can learn to stop the signs when things are not quite going the way that we want them to go. We can do something about it if we know what we're looking for. We can change the way that we react to it. We can change what we were going to do. We can readjust the plan. We can prepare ourselves for whatever this thing is going to bring. We can learn and do things differently next time. So going right back to where this all started, in order to stop ourselves from feeling like we need all of the things and to enable ourselves to invest in the things that we actually need, it has to start with getting total clarity on where we are right now and where we want to get to. Sounds simple, right? But you know what? It's often the simple things that we do not get right first. Like, you're building a house. When you build a house, what do? You start with the foundations. You get the foundations solid before you start to do anything. But sadly, beyond house building, so many people don't do that bit first. They go straight on to building the walls and hope that it stays strong. So if you can take one thing from today's episode, it has to be to get those foundations solid. Whether you are trying to build something new or build on something that you already have, the foundations need to be solid, because it's the foundations that are going to keep whatever it is you're building strong. So get to know what the dream is, get to know where you are currently, and that is going to help you to understand what those gaps look like. And once you know what those gaps are, then you can start to invest in the things that actually are going to move you to the right place. Thank you for listening. See you next time.